Alright, next thing I wanted to talk about today, is I'm going to be uploading 2 videos, has to do with the Australian fires that were going on, because it seems to me, the more and more I've looked into it, this looks like it's part of a sinister plan. Now, I'm not just talking about how some people believe that, not believe, it's true, that there were arsonists that were involved with the Australian wildfires that ended up happening. That seems pretty clear to me, that that's the case. But what I wanted to talk about specifically was the fact that it seems like this is part of a more nefarious plot. Not necessarily that's just by some environmental activists, because this is most likely, over the last few months, the 200 people or so that have been arrested for arson in Australia for starting a lot of these fires. I don't think it's just a crazy global warming, Greta Thunberg supporting activist who's decided to try and spur up fear and support for the climate change movement by doing these fires. I think this can be connected back to the UN Agenda 2030, and I'm going to get into that. Let me explain. First, I wanted to show you this, and this is a video of some of the fires that are going on over there. Now, this is off topic, but I did just want to point this out because I noticed it a lot when I was looking for a video. This is from The Telegraph, I believe. Yeah, it's from The Telegraph. I was looking for a legitimate video uploaded by someone from Australia that took it themselves. But when I went to go do it, I put in Australian fires, and all of these videos came from mainstream media sources. ABC, Global News, Guardian, just on and on and on and on and on. And this is what YouTube wants their platform to be these days. You can't even go and get a legitimate video of somebody, just a individual uploading their own fucking video of the fire. That's what I wanted. But they gotta have a mainstream news source. So let's watch this real quick. It's not going to be long, it's 50 seconds. This was actually, I believe, from last week, December 31st, that the sky had turned blood orange because of these fires and everything that ended up happening. And this is how bad it is. Look at all that smoke. So these are awful fires that they're dealing with. So that's a pretty damn awful thing that these people are forced to deal with. Now, the reason that I end up saying that this is connected back to UN Agenda 2030 is the fact that, well, climate change is a big part of it. See, the whole point, and I don't really think I gotta explain it for you guys, but is that UN Agenda 2030 is about gaining as much control over the individuals of the world as possible, controlling their resources, which in effect will allow you to control them. You control the food, you control the gasoline, you control their property. Then you're going to see how people become much more subservient because they don't even have control over their own resources, and they're dependent on the government in order to give those resources to them. And if you upset the government, then, you're kind of in a bad place. But the thing is that the Australian government, a few years ago, said they've already admitted to committing to the UN Agenda 2030, but they're also, have said that they are they're committed to the smart city plans. Actually, I got something here for you. So they're committed to turning their cities into smart cities. Now, smart cities are about as George Orwell 1984 as you can get, because the whole idea is that they're going to be collecting data on you everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, you're going to have cameras. You're going to have microphones. It's a really dystopian idea. And the thing is, too, is many of these are being outsourced to companies such as Google. In fact, this is the case with what's going on in Toronto. The smart city that they're trying to get in Toronto is the fact that it's a company called Sidewalk Labs. Oh, was it the one I wanted? It was a company called Sidewalk Labs. Now, that is actually a subsidiary of Alphabet, which owns Google. And it's not the only one. You're going to find that everywhere you go, it's going to be these companies like Google that are benefiting from this, that are going to be implementing this. And let's just take a quick look and see what they're implementing.
For this, there's
walk us through this huge development that's been proposed.
Yeah, big really is the word here. It's gone all the way from 5 hectares overnight to 200 acres. And so this is catching a lot of people by surprise for this. There's also, this is incorporating a lot of the unused portlands, pretty much a large portion of the remainder of what's on the Toronto waterfront. Take a look at the map in particular as far as what Sidewalk Labs is proposing and what they want to do. Take a look at the area right here. But one thing that is consistent with all the bells and whistles they've promised over the last couple of years, the Sidewalk Labs, they want to build it from the internet up. They want Wi-Fi everywhere, cameras, data collection, tracking every move, heated sidewalks, time constructions, 89% reduction in greenhouse gases.
So they're talking about tracking your every movement, collecting data on everything that you want to do, and cameras and microphones everywhere. So you will have no privacy. That's one of the points of this. I mean, with the access to the internet, it's a lot easier to track you. I mean, it's going to be pretty easy enough. But this is what they're trying to do with these smart cities right now, and why it's such a dystopian thing to do. In fact, when it came to what's going on in Australia, they said that the government as described by the government, the 3 pillars are smart investment, smart policy, and smart technology. Hold on. Here it is. There's something particular. Yeah, and then here's what they have to say on it. We'll become smarter investors in our city's infrastructure. We will prioritize projects that meet broader economic and city objectives such as accessibility, jobs, affordable housing, and healthy environments. We will treat infrastructure funding as a long-term investment, not a grant, and get involved early, but to ensure project creates opportunities for urban renewal and raise private capital. By drawing or innovating financial approaches, including value capture, we will leverage our balance sheets and deliver more essential infrastructure sooner. This is about watching everything you go, everywhere you go, everything you do. Now, here's what I have for you. This is a map of where the fires are raging, where some of the worst fires are raging right now. That's on the left. And on the right is where the smart city train line, this high-speed rail, is being proposed. Now, this smart city rail line is also going to create 8 new cities in there with a population of between 200,000 and 600,000 people. So this is what we got. It's right along the same route. Now, what would be easier for a government to do if they wanted to turn their entire, pretty much all their major cities into a smart city? Do they purchase the property from the people and then relocate them and then produce and start building from there? Or do you burn the property, burn the people out of their homes, relocate them, and then begin funding your campaign? I'm pretty sure it would be a lot simpler to do it this way. A lot simpler just to forcefully relocate everybody and then start building the smart cities that you want. But they're not alone. Here's California. We've heard a lot about the California. We've heard a lot about the Californian fires that are going on, right? Here on the left, a map of the Californian fires and their location, and here on the right, California's high-speed rail system potential phasing. This rail system that they're talking about here was proposed back in 2008, I believe it was. It was proposed in 2008. In 2013, there was, in 2013, they were holding bids for this. And the bid ended up going to, what is the name of the company? Let me see here. The bid was given, there was a $1 billion bid on the whole, Tudor Perini signed a $1 billion contract for the first phase of construction in 2013 that began in 2015. Now, if we're going to look over all the locations of the California fires, they've been getting worse every single year. So let's go back. Let me turn this back on so you can actually see. So here are the Californian fires in 2014, in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. Yep, let's see. That seems to be where I was at, I believe. 2018, that was the whole thing. 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. Yep, okay. That's it. So now, it appears as if this might be what they're doing, that they're trying to burn people out in order to create these high-speed railways in order to help them advance to become all these smart cities. Places such as California are really big into it. Places such as Australia, places such as Toronto, and some other areas in Canada. Now, here's some of the pictures of the remnants of the fires that ended up happening in California, in certain areas of California. Where I thought I had more than that. Oh, okay, that's why. Some of the pictures needed, I needed to open the internet for them. Instead, they're not properly saved. Alright, but then I ask you, you can even go look this up yourself. You just need to look up, all you gotta do is just go online and look up, California fires, and you'll find it. Does anything stand out to you guys on these photos? Does anyone notice that for wildfire that just raged through this whole area, that burnt down all of these places, do you notice that the grass and the trees are relatively untouched? Now, some people believe that this has to do with direct energy weapons. Now, if you don't believe that, that's fine. It sounds a little unbelievable, but the theory goes that direct energy weapons, such as microwaves or lasers, those can be used to start these fires, so you can destroy and damage all the property you want without having to worry about the greens. So you could burn down, which to me, some of those photos, the fact that you had complete houses built of concrete and metal were completely burned to the ground, and then there was not much that ended up coming with the trees or the grass. They might have been a bit discolored, may have looked like they'd taken a little bit of damage, but all in all are untouched. That seems a little unbelievable to me, doesn't it you? And this is the direction that governments want to go. This is the direction that they want, this is the direction that places such as Google, they want you to go. The whole point of this Agenda 2030, it's like these smart cities are integral to this agenda. And since they're outsourcing this to places such as Google, we can all, and other tech companies, we see what's going on with tech companies right now. We see what's going on with Facebook. We see what's going on at Twitter about how they censor you if you're not behaving appropriately on their platforms. The same sort of thing is going to happen, but it's now going to become your real life. They're trying to push for a social credit system, sort of like what they have in China. And if this is the case, if they're trying, which they pretty easy to do, they can build it into their technology, then this means that you're going to be limited in career options. You're probably not going to be able to purchase large swaths of land, and you're going to be relegated to sleeping in probably those shitty little pods and stuff that they're trying to push people towards. You know the ones I'm talking about? Let's see. These things here. On the left, you got the pods. So it's pretty much is just a bed for you, and you're paying ridiculous prices for it. You got to share everything with everyone, and you pay like $1,200 a month for that. And then on the right here are those tiny little homes that they're trying to push people towards. This is what they want you to live in. And this is probably, if your social credit system is not high enough, this is exactly the type of thing that you're going to be required to live in. There we go. So this is what they're trying to push you towards with their social credit system. They're trying to take away your personal vehicle. They're trying to push you towards using trains and using these light rails. Cars are actually one of the great liberators we've ever had. It allows people to escape, go where they want. They're not limited. I mean, if you ever lived without a car, you know how limited you are. It's hard enough for you to leave your city. But this is what they're trying to take away from you. And this is the whole point, is that they take these things away from you. You're much more controllable. People in New York are extremely easy to control right now. And that's because people don't have cars. They walk or they take a cab because, you see how busy New York. And this is also why they want to hammer as many people into a small area. This is the point of mass migration, is so that you give up all of these liberties yourself. Now, the thing is, too, is they're also trying to push microchips onto people, which ultimate tracker, as well as controls a lot of your stuff, such as the locks to your home. It'll control your bank account even. But this is also what they're doing, because they're trying to push you towards digital currency these days. Let's not forget that not too long ago, the Bank of Canada announced that they were looking to implement a digital currency that will completely replace our physical currency. That eventually it'll phase out our physical currency and everything will be online. And one of the reasons is so that they can track how you're spending your money a lot easier. So now, you probably won't even be able to spend your money the way you want. I mean, they'll probably allow you to pay your bills and allow you to buy, food and stuff so that way you don't starve. But you're not going to be able to spend money in order to, go out with friends, go out to a restaurant somewhere nice, if you don't have a high enough credit score, because you've been a bad boy. You've been a very bad boy. And this is what I think is going on with the Australian fires, and the whole point behind the smart cities that are being implemented. It's all about pushing us towards Agenda 2030, which almost every single government around the world is trying to implement. It doesn't matter whether it's liberal or conservative. Let's not forget, our liberal government right now is trying to push for it. They suck the UN's dick. And then the conservative government was the one who brought in Agenda 2030 into Canada. They signed on to it. So they're pushing for this, and this is the ultimate way that you will be controlled. So next time, we're hearing about all these fires that are happening in another location. Maybe some of the forest fires that happen out here in Canada and sort of in BC and Alberta and those areas. Start paying attention to what's happening in those areas. What infrastructure are they building? That's also a good point. What do you think the point of the Infrastructure Bank of Canada is that Justin Trudeau made? He talked about these grand investments to infrastructure, right? And one of the reasons he was pushing for it was climate change. We're going to need new infrastructure because of it. What type of infrastructure do you think? It's to implement these smart cities. That's the point. That's the whole point of the Infrastructure Bank, and that's the whole point of Justin Trudeau's promises to new infrastructure. So pay attention. Next time that this is going on, causing for mass evacuations, pay attention to what else is going on. Who knows? Maybe they're trying to implement a smart city over there. Or maybe they're trying to implement the smart city's fast rail system. Then it'll all make sense, won't it? Now, regardless, whether you think that the direct energy weapons are actually responsible for what's causing these fires, it seems clear that the fires, which by this point, even though the people like the Greta Thunbergs and the Catherine McKinnon's world will deny and say it's climate change that are causing these, they've pretty much been proven to all be started by arson. Right? I was going to sneeze there. Still might. But now this is either done out of ignorance or deliberately, because they know what they're trying to do. They know what they're trying to push, what they're trying to implement. And this is a perfect way in order to bring this about. These infrastructures that will help fight back against climate change, lower the greenhouse gas emission. It's probably all related back to the Venus Project too, to be honest. You never heard about that? The Venus Project. This Venus Project, the whole point of it is that it's pretty much going to be a communist wet dream. The whole point of it is that you're going to make these futuristic cities with all this advanced technology where nobody has to work and everything is provided for them. And any sort of hands that they will need will be on the voluntary system because, nobody has to work, no one has to worry about providing for themselves. They have all this free time. They'll be more than happy to spend their time. They're more than happy to spend their time in order to help out. And this was the whole idea behind communism. The state provides for you, and then you provide for the state what they needed. The thing is all your choices were taken away during that time. And this is what will happen with the Venus Project. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the Venus Project is partnered up with Google, Alphabet, and the people implementing these smart cities. Anyway, that's it for me. Have a good rest of your day, everybody.